The desert stretched endlessly under the pale morning sun. Shimmering sands shifted with every breeze, forming ripples that looked like waves frozen in time. Ryan, a young archaeologist, stood at the edge of a large dune, scanning the horizon with binoculars. His heart beat faster than usual. After years of searching, he finally saw a formation on his satellite maps that no one had noticed before. Something ancient lay hidden beneath the sands. "Ryan, are you sure about this?" called Mira, his assistant, wiping sweat from her forehead. She carried a small pack with excavation tools and notes. The sun was rising and the desert already felt like an oven. "I'm sure," Ryan replied, lowering his binoculars. "The satellite images show underground formations that don't match natural patterns. This could be a tomb or something even older." His voice was calm, but excitement shone in his eyes. The team had arrived here quietly, avoiding local attention. Rumors of lost civilizations often attracted treasure hunters, and Ryan wanted to make the discovery in peace. He adjusted his hat and motioned for the team to follow. Small vehicles designed for desert travel moved carefully across the dunes. The closer they got, the more the ground seemed unnatural. Stones poked through the sand in perfect alignment, forming a strange circle that seemed to hum faintly, as if the earth itself was alive. As they reached the center, Ryan knelt and brushed away sand with his hands. Beneath, he saw markings unlike any he had studied before, serpent-like symbols coiled around geometric shapes carved deep into the stone. He traced one with his finger, feeling a faint vibration under his touch. "This is incredible," Ryan whispered. Mira leaned closer, studying the glyphs. "They look alive," she said. "Like they are telling a story." Ryan nodded. Legend spoke of the serpent god, a guardian of ancient knowledge. Could this really be connected to it? His voice was barely audible, as if speaking louder might disturb the place. They spent hours carefully clearing the sand, uncovering what appeared to be the entrance to a tomb. It was rectangular, with massive stone doors sealed shut. The carvings covered every inch, and in the center was the figure of a serpent coiled around a glowing orb. No one could explain how the orb seemed to catch the sunlight, reflecting it in sharp, bright beams even though it was embedded in stone. "Mira, this could be the find of a lifetime," said Ryan, standing back. "We need to document everything before we open it." Mira nodded and began sketching the symbols while Ryan took photos from multiple angles. He felt an unusual energy in the air, a mix of excitement and caution. There was a silence in the desert that felt different from the usual stillness. It was deep, almost like the world was holding its breath. As they worked, Ryan noticed a faint whisper in his mind. He stopped and looked around, but no one else seemed to hear it. The words were not clear, but the tone was gentle, almost urging him forward. He shook his head. "It's just the wind," he told himself, but the feeling lingered. By late afternoon, they had cleared enough sand to see the full entrance. The doors were massive, unmarked by time, and perfectly intact. Ryan ran his hand over the carvings again. They were cold, harder than any stone he had touched, yet strangely smooth. "Whatever is behind these doors has not been disturbed for thousands of years," he said softly. Mira looked uneasy. "Do you think we should open it now, or wait for more equipment?" Ryan paused. He had planned to take precautions, but his curiosity was too strong. "We will proceed carefully," he said. "This is the moment we have trained for. We will respect whatever is inside, but we cannot turn back now." He signaled to the team. Together they set up lights and scaffolding. Ryan examined the mechanisms on the doors. They were unlike anything he had ever seen. Strange alien symbols interlaced with the serpent glyphs. He pressed gently on one of the carvings, and to everyone's surprise, the doors shifted slightly. The stone moved as if it were metal, gliding smoothly without a sound. The team held their breath as the entrance opened just enough to reveal darkness inside. A cold, dry wind escaped from within, carrying a faint scent of earth and something older, something alive. Ryan felt a shiver run down his spine. "Ready?" he asked. Mira nodded, gripping her notebook tightly. Ryan took the first step into the darkness, holding a flashlight. The beam cut through the black, revealing walls covered in the same serpent symbols. The air was still, but the whispers returned, soft and indistinct. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. As the team followed Ryan deeper, the tomb's entrance closed behind them with a soft thud. The desert outside was silent once more, unaware of the secrets now awakening within its sands. Ryan's heart raced. He knew that this was only the beginning. The tomb of the ancient serpent god had waited in silence for millennia, and now finally it had been found. The air inside the tomb was cool and still. It smelled faintly of stone and dust, but there was something else as well, a metallic scent, sharp and strange. Ryan moved cautiously, his flashlight sweeping over walls covered in intricate carvings. The serpent symbols continued deeper into the tomb, winding around shapes that seemed to shift when he looked at them from different angles. Mira followed close behind, her notebook ready. She whispered, "Ryan, look at these patterns. They almost look like instructions or maybe a language." Ryan nodded. "I've studied many ancient texts, but this is unlike anything I've seen. It could be a mix of history and technology." The team walked down a narrow corridor. The walls began to pulse faintly with a soft blue light, not from any light source they carried. It was as if the tomb itself had energy flowing through it. Ryan reached out to touch the wall, feeling a subtle vibration under his fingertips. Mira gasped softly. "It feels alive," she said. The passage opened into a large chamber. Its ceiling rose high above them, covered in more carvings and shimmering crystals. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it a circular object glowed faintly. It looked like an orb made of polished stone, but the light inside seemed to move like liquid energy. Ryan stepped closer, his flashlight revealing even more carvings. They showed a story, a serpent coiled around planets and stars, guarding something that looked like knowledge itself. Ryan's mind raced. Could this tomb really belong to the ancient serpent god, a being from legend? Suddenly a low hum filled the chamber. The team froze. The walls seemed to respond, the carvings glowing brighter. Mira's notebook slipped from her hands as the light pulsed in rhythm with the hum. Ryan held up his hand. "Stay calm. It's responding to us, not attacking us." A strange vision filled Ryan's mind. He saw images of other worlds, glowing cities in the darkness of space, and a massive serpent-like creature coiling around a shining core of knowledge. The vision vanished as quickly as it came. Mira gasped. "Did you see that too?" Ryan shook his head slowly. I saw a memory or maybe a message. This place is more than a tomb. It's a warning and a lesson." The team moved closer to the glowing orb. The closer Ryan got, the more he felt the whispers again. They were faint, almost like soft voices speaking directly to him. Words formed in his mind, though he could not understand them fully. A feeling of calm and curiosity filled him. It was as if the tomb wanted him to explore and learn. Mira touched the orb lightly. The light spread across the room, highlighting hidden carvings on the walls. Symbols that had been invisible before now glowed like lines on a map. "It's showing us something," she said. "Directions, maybe, or instructions for something inside the tomb." Ryan traced the carvings with his hand. "These symbols are advanced. They are not just art. They are a system, maybe even a kind of machine. This tomb is alive with knowledge, preserved for thousands of years." Suddenly, a small section of the floor shifted. A hidden passage revealed itself. The team stared in awe. Ryan whispered, "It's inviting us deeper. We have to be careful, but we cannot turn back now." As they descended, the air grew colder and the whispers became stronger. Ryan felt as if the tomb was testing him, measuring his intentions. Every step seemed to require focus, calmness, and courage. He glanced at Mira. She looked both scared and amazed. "Do you think it knows we are here?" she asked. "I think it does," Ryan said softly, "and I think it wants to see if we are worthy." The corridor opened into another chamber larger than the first. The ceiling was covered in crystalline formations that refracted the light from their flashlights. On the walls were murals of humans and serpents working together, building cities, traveling across the stars. Ryan's heart raced. This was not only history, it was a vision of what humanity could become. A low rumble echoed through the chamber. The team instinctively stepped back. From the shadows emerged a figure, not physical but a shimmering form of light shaped like a serpent coiled around a human figure. The team froze, unable to speak. The figure spoke without words. Ryan felt the message directly in his mind. "You have entered the place of knowledge. Only those who seek understanding, not power, may proceed." Ryan felt a wave of respect and awe. Mira whispered, "It's real. The serpent god. It's here. In some form." The figure moved closer to the orb, which now glowed brighter than ever. The chamber filled with energy that made Ryan feel light and heavy at the same time. It was as if the tomb itself was alive and aware of every thought, every intention of the team. Ryan took a deep breath. We are here to learn and to understand. We mean no harm." The whispers faded, replaced by a calm presence that seemed to settle over the room. The team exchanged glances. They had crossed the first threshold of the tomb, and already they knew that what lay ahead was beyond anything they had imagined. The tomb waited silently, holding secrets older than humanity, ready to test and guide those who dared to seek its knowledge. Ryan's mind was filled with questions and a sense of purpose. He realized that their journey was only beginning, and that the ancient serpent god had chosen to reveal its world, piece by piece, to those who could prove themselves worthy. The chamber stretched endlessly before Ryan and Mira, its walls glowing faintly with the soft blue light of the crystals embedded in the stone. The murals of humans and serpents working together filled the room, but now there were new symbols appearing, as if the tomb was writing itself in real time. Every time Ryan's eyes moved, the carvings seemed to shift, showing new patterns, new images. Mira whispered, "It's like the walls are alive. Every time I look, I see something different." Ryan nodded, keeping his focus. "This tomb is more than a building. It is a record. It holds knowledge, maybe knowledge we are not ready for. We must proceed carefully." As they moved deeper into the chamber, they discovered a small pedestal with an artifact resting on it. It was a device made of smooth metal and stone, shaped like a sphere with thin bands circling around it. Tiny lights pulsed across its surface in a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Ryan crouched down to study it. "This is incredible," he said. "It looks like some kind of machine, but it's ancient. The energy coming from it is strong, but stable. Whoever made this was far more advanced than we are today." Mira leaned closer, studying the bands of light. "Look at these markings. They match the serpent symbols outside. Maybe the serpent god created this as a way to store knowledge or communicate." Ryan nodded. "Or as a test. This tomb seems to respond to our intentions. It may be protecting what's inside, only allowing those who are worthy to go further." Suddenly, a subtle vibration passed through the floor. The orb on the pedestal began to rotate slowly, and the bands of light formed a new pattern. The symbols on the walls brightened, showing a pathway deeper into the tomb. "Do you see that?" Mira asked. "It's giving us directions." Ryan carefully stepped forward, examining the new passage. It was narrow, carved from smooth stone with faint carvings on the walls that resembled a map of the tomb's inner chambers. As they followed the path, the whispers returned, softer now, guiding them without words. The corridor opened into another chamber, darker than the first. Shadows clung to the corners, but the walls were lined with more carvings, showing scenes of humans learning from serpents. In some images, humans were building machines, exploring stars, and creating cities. The message was clear. The serpent god had once shared knowledge with humans who were ready to understand. Ryan ran his hands over the carvings, tracing the lines. This tomb was not just a resting place. It was a school, a place of learning. The serpent god wanted to teach those who could prove themselves capable. As they moved further, a subtle shift in the air made the team stop. The floor beneath them began to glow, forming a complex pattern of lines and symbols. Ryan realized this was a challenge. "It's a test," he said. "We need to solve it to go further." Mira studied the lines. "They look like a puzzle. Maybe it's about balance or energy. We have to step carefully." Ryan and Mira worked together, observing the glowing lines and tracing their shapes with their hands. Each time they matched the patterns correctly, the lights pulsed and advanced one step forward. The tomb seemed to watch them, testing their patience, focus, and teamwork. After several minutes, the pattern completed itself, and a section of the wall slid open silently. Behind it lay a small chamber with a pedestal holding an ancient tablet. The tablet glowed faintly, and strange symbols rotated on its surface. Ryan picked it up carefully. This is a record," he whispered. "It may contain instructions or knowledge left by the serpent god." Mira reached over to look. "These symbols? They are similar to the ones on the orb. Maybe they work together, like a code." Ryan studied the tablet, tracing the symbols with his fingers. As he did, a projection of light rose from the surface. A holographic image appeared, showing a city with humans and serpents coexisting. Machines hummed with energy, and the sky above sparkled with stars. The vision was breathtaking, showing what humanity could achieve if guided by knowledge and wisdom. The hologram shifted to show warnings. It displayed a vision of failure, humans misusing knowledge, creating machines that could harm, destroying harmony. Ryan realized the tomb was teaching lessons, not just showing history. The Serpent God wanted to test intentions and teach responsibility. Mira whispered, "It's more than a tomb. It's a message for anyone who finds it." The Serpent God wanted to prepare humans for something greater, but only if they were worthy. Ryan nodded, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. We must respect this knowledge. If we misuse it, the tomb has warned us of the consequences. A low hum filled the chamber, and the tablet's projection faded. The tomb seemed to breathe again, calm but alert. Ryan looked at Mira. "We have passed the first test, but I feel that deeper challenges await. This tomb will not give its secrets easily." They paused for a moment, letting the weight of the discovery sink in. Every step they took revealed more than just artifacts. The tomb tested their minds, their morals, and their unity. It was alive in ways they were only beginning to understand. Ryan took a deep breath and looked forward. "We came here for discovery. Now we must be ready to learn, to face whatever comes next, and to show that we are worthy." The tomb waited silently around them, holding secrets older than humanity itself. The whispers faded into a gentle hum, promising guidance but not mercy. The journey into the heart of the Serpent God's tomb was only beginning, and Ryan knew that every step forward would challenge them in ways they could not yet imagine. The corridor beyond the tablet chamber was narrower, almost like a tunnel carved by careful hands long ago. Ryan led the team, his flashlight cutting through the darkness, revealing walls covered in intricate carvings. The air was cooler here, and the faint hum that had been following them grew stronger, filling the space around them like a living presence. Mira kept close, holding the tablet they had just found. Its light had faded, but the images it had projected remained vivid in her mind.
"Do you feel that?"
she whispered. "It's watching us more closely now." Ryan nodded. "I feel it too. The tomb is alive in some way. Every step we take matters." He glanced back at the team. "Stay focused. We must respect whatever lies ahead." The tunnel opened into a vast chamber, its ceiling arched high above, covered with crystals that reflected the light from their flashlights in thousands of tiny beams. At the center of the chamber was a raised platform, and on it rested a large sarcophagus. Unlike anything Ryan had ever seen, it was smooth, polished stone interlaced with glowing lines that pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. As Ryan approached, the whispers became clearer, forming words not spoken aloud but felt directly in his mind. "Who seeks the knowledge of the Serpent God?" Ryan stopped and took a deep breath. He concentrated, sending a thought back, unsure if the tomb could understand him. "We are seekers. We come to learn and to respect the knowledge you guard." The chamber vibrated softly, and the sarcophagus began to glow brighter. From within, a form emerged, made entirely of light. It coiled gracefully, serpentine in shape, yet it carried a presence that felt both wise and powerful. The holographic figure's eyes, shining with bright energy, focused on Ryan and the team. A voice echoed directly in their minds, calm and commanding. "Many have come seeking power. Few have come seeking understanding. Tell me, humans, why should you proceed?" Ryan stepped forward carefully. "We seek to learn, to understand the history of this place and the wisdom it contains. We wish no harm, only knowledge to help our people." The figure's light pulsed in response, almost as if considering his words. "Words alone do not prove worthiness. Actions reveal character. You will face trials. Only those who show courage, wisdom, and respect may continue." Mira looked at Ryan, eyes wide. "Trials? What kind of trials?" The light figure coiled around the sarcophagus and gestured toward the walls. Symbols appeared, moving in complex patterns. "The path forward is not physical alone. You must demonstrate understanding and unity. Only those who act with care and clarity may pass." Ryan studied the symbols. They seemed to form puzzles, each one connected to another. Some required observation, others required reasoning, and one even demanded patience and cooperation between team members. The tomb tested not strength but mind and spirit. The first challenge involved aligning beams of light projected from the walls. Ryan and Mira worked together, adjusting mirrors and reflecting the beams onto specific symbols. Each time they succeeded, the light shifted, revealing a new path forward. The tomb seemed alive, responding to their progress. As they advanced, a second trial required them to interpret ancient inscriptions. They described past events in vivid detail, showing the rise and fall of civilizations and the lessons learned from mistakes. Ryan realized the tomb was teaching them. Understanding history, not ignoring it, was part of the test. The final trial involved a choice. The team discovered a pedestal with two objects, one that radiated knowledge and another that promised great power. The light figure's voice filled their minds. Choose wisely. Only those who value understanding above desire may proceed. Rian hesitated for a moment. He glanced at Mira, who nodded slightly. Together they reached for the object radiating knowledge. As their hands touched it, the tomb responded. The glowing figure coiled around them, its light brightening. You have chosen well. Wisdom guides those who are ready. Power without understanding leads to destruction. The chamber transformed. Walls shifted to reveal a passage descending deeper into the tomb. The light figure floated to the sarcophagus, its form glowing steadily. Proceed, seekers. Your path is long, but your hearts are true. Learn well, for knowledge carries responsibility beyond measure. Ryan felt a mixture of awe and relief. Mira exhaled softly. We passed, she said. We showed that we can be trusted. Ryan nodded. This is only the beginning. The tomb holds more secrets and more tests may come. But I feel we are ready. We have shown courage, wisdom, and respect. That is what matters here. The whispers faded, replaced by a calm energy that surrounded the chamber. The team moved forward, deeper into the tomb, aware that they were not only exploring a physical space but also the wisdom of an ancient intelligence. The Serpent God's presence remained, guiding them silently, watching their every action, and preparing them for what lay ahead. Rian knew one thing clearly. Humanity had the potential to rise, but only if guided by understanding and honor. And in this tomb the lessons would be revealed, step by step, to those who proved worthy. The passage beyond the chamber narrowed, forcing Ryan and Mira to walk single file. The glow from the walls guided their steps, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. The whispers had returned, faint and melodic, carrying a sense of calm but also expectation. It was as if the tomb itself was watching every movement, waiting to see how they would act. This place is incredible, Mira said, her voice echoing slightly. Every step we take feels meaningful. Ryan nodded. It's not just about discovery. The tomb is testing us, teaching us. We need to remain focused and respectful. As they advanced, the corridor opened into a chamber larger than any they had seen before. The ceiling stretched high above, covered in crystal formations that reflected their flashlight beams in countless patterns. In the center of the room was a platform surrounded by pillars carved with serpentine symbols. On the platform rested three objects: a crystal orb, a polished metal cube, and a small tablet carved from stone. A voice filled their minds, calm but commanding. To proceed, you must choose wisely. Each object holds a challenge. Only those who act with clarity and understanding may continue. Ryan studied the objects. The crystal orb shimmered with energy, as if it contained knowledge waiting to be unlocked. The metal cube hummed faintly, but its purpose was unclear. The tablet was inscribed with symbols that seemed to shift when he looked at them. Mira whispered, I think the orb is the safest. It feels like it wants to teach, not test us with danger. Rian nodded. Agreed. Let's approach carefully. As they reached for the orb, the chamber transformed. The floor beneath them shifted, forming glowing paths that required precise steps to cross safely. Each movement needed coordination and observation. A single misstep could send the team back to the start of the chamber. Rian took a deep breath. We need to work together. Watch each other's steps and stay calm. They moved carefully, coordinating every step. Mira adjusted her pace to match Ryan's. The tomb seemed to respond to their teamwork, the paths lighting up steadily as they advanced. The whispers grew louder, encouraging them, guiding their focus. When they reached the platform, the orb began to levitate slightly. A holographic projection appeared above it, showing humans and serpents working together, building cities, exploring stars, and creating machines. The vision shifted to show conflicts, misunderstandings, and failures caused by selfishness and greed. This is incredible, Ryan whispered. It's showing us history but also lessons. Knowledge comes with responsibility. The orb's voice spoke directly in their minds. Those who seek wisdom must act with care, not desire. You have shown coordination and respect. Your minds are ready to understand, but more trials await. Will you proceed? Ryan looked at Mira. We must. We came here to learn, and this is the path we chose. They nodded together, and the orb's light expanded, forming a bridge of energy leading to a new passage. The The tomb continued to test them. This trial was no longer about physical steps or solving puzzles. Now it was about decisions, about understanding priorities and showing judgment under pressure. The next chamber was dimly lit, with 3 doors, each marked with different symbols. One represented knowledge, another power, and the last uncertainty. The whispers guided them subtly, nudging them to think carefully. Mira touched the door with the knowledge symbol. I think this is the right choice. The tomb has taught us to value understanding over power or fear. Ryan agreed. We must continue on this path. Our purpose here is not personal gain. It is to learn and carry wisdom forward. The door opened into a room filled with floating platforms. To cross, they had to leap from one to another. Each platform reacted to their weight and movement. Ryan and Mira moved carefully, using coordination and timing. The tomb tested patience and focus, showing that teamwork was essential for progress. At the end of the room, a small pedestal held a glowing crystal. When Ryan touched it, the tomb vibrated and the voice spoke again. You have proven your worth. Courage, wisdom, and respect guide your path. You are ready to learn what few humans have ever known. The chamber transformed once more, revealing a deep staircase spiraling downward. The light figure of the Serpent god appeared briefly at the top, shimmering with calm energy. Proceed, seekers. Your hearts are true. What you learn here may guide your people to greatness if you honor it. Ryan felt a rush of awe. We have passed the trials so far, but the tomb is not finished. There is still more to understand. Mira looked at him with a mixture of fear and excitement. Every step feels like we are being tested, not just physically, but in our hearts and minds. I think this is what the Serpent God wanted all along, to see if humans can rise to its standards. Ryan nodded. It's more than a discovery. It's a lesson. Humanity must show courage, wisdom, and respect to reach its potential. This tomb is a guide, and we are fortunate to be chosen to learn from it. The two of them descended the staircase together, ready for the next challenge. The tomb's whispers faded to a soft hum, leaving them with a sense of calm purpose. They had proven themselves worthy in the first trials, but Ryan knew that the deeper they went, the more they would need to rely on intelligence, morality, and teamwork. The Serpent God's presence remained, guiding them silently, testing them subtly, and preparing them for the wisdom it was ready to share. Ryan felt a deep responsibility settle in his chest. Humanity had the potential to rise, and he understood that the lessons of this tomb could shape their future in ways unimaginable. The staircase ended in a chamber that took Ryan's breath away. The ceiling stretched higher than any cathedral he had ever seen, sparkling with crystalline formations that refracted the faint light of their flashlights into soft rainbows. The walls were covered with intricate carvings, showing humans and serpents together, building cities, exploring stars, and creating machines of impossible design. Every detail seemed alive, moving subtly as if telling a story. Mira whispered, I think this is the heart of the tomb. Everything we have seen has led us here. Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on him. We are standing where very few have ever stood. The Serpent God must be ready to share its knowledge. In the center of the chamber, a pedestal rose from the floor, glowing with a soft, steady light. As they approached, a figure of pure energy appeared above it. The holographic form of the Serpent God coiled gracefully, its eyes shining with intelligence and calm authority. Its voice echoed directly into their minds. You have proven yourselves worthy through trials of courage, wisdom, and respect. Few humans have ever come this far. Now I will share knowledge that may guide your people to new heights if you honor it. Ryan stepped closer, feeling awe and responsibility in equal measure. We are ready, he said simply. The figure extended its luminous form and the room filled with visions. Ryan and Mira saw designs for machines that could harness energy from stars, methods for sustainable energy, and ways to build cities in harmony with nature. The tomb showed advanced technology, but more importantly, it displayed philosophies of cooperation, empathy, and balance. Mira gasped. This is beyond anything we have ever imagined. It could change humanity forever. Ryan nodded slowly. Yes, but it is not only about machines or tools. The Serpent God is teaching us how to use knowledge wisely, not recklessly. The figure's voice continued. Knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. Power without understanding leads to destruction. You must carry this knowledge carefully and ensure it benefits all, not just a few. Ryan felt the truth of the words. He thought about humanity's past mistakes, conflicts, and greed. "We understand," he said. "We will share what we learn responsibly. This is a gift and we will honor it." The serpent god's light pulsed and the chamber transformed. Sections of the walls opened to reveal maps of distant stars, showing pathways humans could take if they learned to work together and respect life beyond their own world. They saw glimpses of other civilizations, some thriving, others destroyed by misuse of knowledge. Mira stepped forward. "It's showing us consequences, not just possibilities. Every decision matters." Ryan placed a hand on the pedestal, feeling a surge of energy. "The tomb is teaching us responsibility. Humanity's potential is limitless, but only if we grow in understanding and moral strength." The serpent god's form coiled higher, radiating warmth and calm energy. "You are ready to return. Carry this wisdom, and teach your people that courage, unity, and respect guide progress. Remember, true advancement comes not from power alone, but from harmony and insight." Ryan and Mira exchanged a glance. They felt both humbled and inspired. This knowledge was not only advanced technology, but guidance for the human spirit. It could help humanity achieve greatness, but only if they followed the lessons carefully. Before leaving, Ryan looked around the chamber one last time. Every detail, every symbol, every pulse of light seemed alive. The tomb was more than a resting place. It was a teacher, a guardian, and a guide for all who sought understanding. Mira whispered, "Do you think humans are ready for this?" Ryan shook his head slowly. "Not yet, but we can start. We can teach what we have learned here, step by step, with care and responsibility. That is the path the serpent god wants us to follow." They turned toward the staircase that led back to the surface. As they ascended, the whispers of the tomb grew softer, less insistent, as if the serpent god had entrusted them with a great responsibility. The path was still challenging, but they felt confident. They had been tested, and they had proven themselves worthy. At the top of the stairs, the tomb opened onto the desert. The sun was lower now, casting long shadows across the sands. The wind blew gently, carrying the quiet stillness of the desert and the hidden secrets beneath. Ryan and Mira stood side by side, taking in the vast landscape, feeling small yet connected to something far greater than themselves. Ryan said softly, "We have a duty now, to protect this knowledge, to use it wisely, and to show humanity that they can rise above selfishness and fear." Mira nodded. "The serpent god trusted us. That trust is powerful. We cannot let it be wasted." As they prepared to return to their base, Ryan looked back at the dunes. The tomb lay hidden, silent once more, waiting for those who were worthy. The whispers faded completely, leaving only calm energy that seemed to promise that the serpent god would always watch over those who acted with wisdom and respect. Ryan felt hope rising in him. Humanity's potential was enormous, and the lessons of the tomb had shown him that the greatest strength was not in machines or power, but in courage, unity, and moral clarity. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, ready to share the knowledge, ready to help humanity rise, and ready to honor the serpent god's trust. The desert stretched endlessly before Ryan and Mira as they stepped from the tomb's entrance. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the rippling sand. The silence of the desert was complete, as if it had absorbed the whispers of the tomb and kept its secrets safe. Yet Ryan felt the weight of what they had discovered pressing on him, a responsibility that would guide him for the rest of his life. Mira brushed sand from her clothes and looked at Ryan. "It feels different here, doesn't it? Almost like the desert itself knows what we've seen." Ryan nodded. "Yes, the tomb taught us more than knowledge. It taught us how to use knowledge wisely. That is a lesson humanity must learn if it is to rise." They began walking toward their vehicles, their footsteps soft in the sand. Every glance toward the dunes reminded them that the tomb was still there, hidden and silent, guarding its secrets, waiting for the right seekers to return. As they drove back to their base, the tablet and the orb safely secured, Ryan reflected on the journey. The tomb had tested them in ways that went beyond physical skill. Their courage, teamwork, patience, and respect for knowledge had been the true trials. They had faced challenges that required more than strength. They demanded wisdom and moral clarity. Mira broke the silence. "Do you think humanity is ready for what we learned?" Ryan shook his head. "Not yet. But we can begin. We can share lessons carefully, guiding others to understand responsibility, cooperation, and wisdom. That is the real gift the Serpent God gave us. Back at the base, the team gathered to catalog and study the artifacts and information they had recovered. The technology was advanced, but the most important lesson was the philosophy embedded in it. Knowledge without wisdom was dangerous, but when guided by understanding and morality, it could elevate humanity. Ryan spent hours analyzing the designs for energy systems, star travel, and city planning. Mira focused on translating the symbols and holographic messages, trying to preserve every lesson in a form that could be shared responsibly. Every discovery was thrilling, but they both knew the real challenge was teaching humanity to use it properly. Days passed, and word of their discovery remained secret, shared only among a trusted few. Ryan often thought of the Serpent God and the trials they had faced. He remembered the soft whispers, the glowing chambers, and the figure of light that had guided them. It had been patient, testing them with care and rewarding those who showed respect and understanding. One evening, as the sun set over the desert, Ryan and Mira returned to the dunes near the tomb. The wind was gentle, carrying faint warmth. Ryan knelt and traced a line in the sand, thinking of the lessons they had learned. "The Serpent God entrusted us with something incredible," he said quietly. "It did not give this knowledge to anyone, only to those who proved themselves worthy. We must honor that trust." Mira nodded. "We have seen what humans are capable of. We have also seen their mistakes. We must guide them carefully, step by step, toward understanding." They sat together in silence for a while, watching the sun sink lower, painting the sky with colors that seemed almost unreal. Ryan felt hope stirring within him. Humanity had potential beyond imagination, but only if it embraced courage, unity, and wisdom. As night fell, the desert grew calm. The tomb remained hidden beneath the sand, silent once more, yet its presence was felt in the gentle wind and the soft hum of the earth. Ryan knew that it would always be a guardian, waiting for the next worthy seekers, and that the lessons of the Serpent God would endure as long as there were humans willing to learn. Mira stood and stretched, looking toward the horizon. "We've started something important here. This is only the beginning, but it is the right path." Ryan stood beside her, feeling a quiet determination. "We will teach what we learned, not for power, not for fame, but to help humanity rise, to show that knowledge and wisdom together can make a future brighter than anything we have imagined." Together, they returned to their vehicles, carrying not only artifacts and knowledge but also the responsibility that came with it. The desert night was quiet, and the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Before leaving the area, Ryan looked back one last time at the dunes. Somewhere beneath the sand lay the tomb of the ancient Serpent God, waiting in silence. It had revealed its wisdom to those who were worthy, and had tested them with patience and care. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and humility. "The world may not know yet," he said softly, "but humanity has a chance to rise, to learn, and to honor what we have been given." Mira smiled. "And we will make sure they do." Step by step, carefully, with respect and courage, Ryan nodded. Together they turned toward the horizon, ready to bring the lessons of the tomb back to the world. They had faced the trials, earned the trust of the Serpent God, and discovered knowledge that could guide humanity to greatness. The journey was over for now, but the path they had begun would continue for generations to come. The desert returned to silence. The tomb slept once more beneath the sands, guarding its secrets and awaiting the next worthy seekers. Above, the stars shone, carrying the promise of a future shaped not by power alone, but by courage, wisdom, and the strength of the human spirit. Ryan and Mira drove on, hearts filled with hope, minds filled with lessons, and a purpose that would guide them and all of humanity toward a brighter tomorrow.